So let me see if I switch. There, it went away. Okay. Okay. Oh well, doesn't matter. So first thing I want to do, this is my main class right here. This is my main method. Everything's driven from this. I want to go ahead and write a new file right away called rectangle. We're going to go ahead and create a rectangle class that will do rectangle things, make rectangle objects, and do rectangle calculations with rectangle methods. So first thing, go ahead and click add file right here. We're going to go ahead and call this rectangle. Now all classes have to end with what? .java, very good. So I go .java right here. If it is not .java, you're going to have some issues here. And if you did it correctly, notice it will save as like a little coffee cup here on Repel it. Okay, so then I come here and it brings me to this new file. Excellent. Let's go ahead and create this class. So to create a class, I go public, and then I just go class, and then the name of it. Rectangle, curly brackets, and I hit enter. So now I have created my rectangle class here. Now I want to go ahead and make some constructors so that I can go ahead and make objects out of this. Now the first thing I want to do though is I want to make some variables that will work for my whole class. So don't worry about this. We'll cover this more in chapter 5, but just follow me along here. I'm going to go integer, and a rectangle has height and integer width, or let's go length. Height and length. Okay, so I'm just declaring these. Come back to that. The first thing I want to do is I want to make a constructor. So do you remember how to make a constructor? If you're not sure, let's go back to this document here. Oh, that's the wrong document. That's for my other class.
Oh my gosh, we don't need to see that. Physics.
Oh, calculus physics is pretty fun. It's somewhere here. Here. Okay, so always come back if you get stuck at any point. Class name, object name, new class name, and then any parameters we want to put in. All right. So again, if you need to, always come back to this for reference to help you out if you forget anything, or you can come back and work on this code that we've been doing together here. So I'm going to go back here. All right. I want to make my first constructor. So I'm going to go right here, public. Oh, I just did how to create an object. Ignore that. I need to first make the constructor. Sorry. How do I make this? I go public. Then what? Rectangle. Yeah, rectangle. You just put the class name. That's it. Nothing special there. Rectangle. Then any parameters. We're going to do 2 of these. I don't want to put any parameter for this one. Let's make a default one. And let's go, if they want to go ahead and do this, let's go height is equal to 10. And let's go length is equal to 10. And this is a nice constructor here. It will go ahead and make this for us. Now, where do I actually have to make this? Yeah, in the main, in driver class, right? So I come back over here. Okay? And right here, I want to now go ahead and make an object. So I go the name of the class, which we called rectangle. Give it a name. I'm going to go R1 equals new name of the class again, rectangle, and any parameters. I didn't want to give any parameters. That's fine. There. Okay, let's run our program. Make sure we don't get any errors. I run my program. You run your program. Hey, nothing happened. What's going on? Why nothing happened? Yeah, we didn't tell it to output anything. Something actually did happen. We just don't see it. It's all behind the scenes. We haven't done an output yet. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's do something. I'm going to do another method in here. What should we do? What can we do with a rectangle? Math-wise, what can I do with a rectangle? Find its area. Sure, I would take a perimeter too. So let's go ahead. Now, I'm using an object. I just created an object. So should I use a static method or a non-static method? Yeah, non-static, because I want to use the object with it. So I'm going to make a non-static method, which means I just don't write the word static. That's all you have to do. So that's pretty easy. So I first start with public, and then my return type. What do I want to return out of this? An integer, good. So I just put in what type of variable I want to return, and then I want to give it a name. What name should we give this? I think that's the perfect name for this. Now, I don't have to put anything in this because it's part of the rectangle class, and that information is stored with the object. That's the nice thing about the object. All the attributes are stored with it. So I don't have to put in anything. It already has it saved. So I just come over here, and what does a method need at the end of it? Curly brackets, good. Hit enter here. Now I just need to do return. And what equation do I do here? Height times length, yeah. Should have used width, shouldn't I have? Okay, so this goes ahead and returns it for me. Excellent. Now I can go ahead and use this function. So I'm going to go give you a second to get this down. Let's go back to our main class. Okay, I need to first, I could do this in a system.out print line to output it to show you. Let's just go up here and just create. So create or declare variables up here. So come in here, so I'm going to just go integer area 1 and comma. Let's just make it area 2 while we're at it for funsies. We'll use that here in a little bit. Okay, so now I'm going to say area 1 is equal to, how do I now use my method? Not quite. Now, that would work if it was static, but it's not static. I want to use the attributes to my object. So what's my object's name? R1. So because it's a non-static, I want to use those things that are saved with the object. Otherwise, I would use the name of the class. So R1, and then what's my method's name? Area. There's no parameter set with it, so I run it like that. Okay, let's go ahead and just make sure this works. System.out.println area 1. Okay, go ahead and run that. What should we expect out of this, by the way? 100, yeah. So go ahead and run that. Excellent. You got that to work. If not, check with your L-Buddy. Let's see any errors that we have coming up here. If you need help, raise your hand. I'll come around. Okay. If we're all good. Next step here, let's now overload our constructor. What does overloading our constructor mean? Yeah, having another constructor with the same name, but different parameters. What parameters did we set in the first constructor? What? None, yeah, 0. So I can have another one here as long as it doesn't have 0. I can't do it if it has the same, but I can do as many as I want as long as they're unique. So public, let me actually comment this out here. So overload the constructor by having multiple. Okay, so I'm going to go public. And again, I still have to use my class name, which is rectangle. And now I'm going to give it some parameters. And I'm going to say integer x is equal to, integer h, comma, integer L. And then how do I start every method after that? Curly brackets, excellent. And let's make sure I spell integer right. INT. Okay, so what this does is now I can put in values to save as my rectangle's dimension. Before, it just defaults to 10 and 10. Now I can put in whatever I want, okay, when I create the object. But this doesn't work throughout the whole class because these aren't defined in the whole class. What did I define in the whole class? Height and length. So what I have to do is I have to make it equal to that. So the way I do that is I say height is equal to h, so now it can work throughout the whole class. And then I say length is equal to L. So I'm saving to my variables for the whole class, so that way it can use it in area. If I didn't do that, h and L aren't defined through the whole class, and area wouldn't work. Now area will work if I define it with this. So I have two different constructors that's considered overloaded. It will use whichever meets the parameters. So let's make a second object using our second one. So I'm going to go, let you finish this up here, and then let's go back and see if you can make a second object using that second one. I'm going to come back here. I'll put some comments in here. Make objects in this location. Rectangle. Give it a name. What should we call this one? R3? No, I'm kidding. R5. Let's stick with R2. New, and again, class name, rectangle. And now I put in the dimensions. So what should we make it? Let's make this one a 3x4. Now, I don't have to put an integer 3, integer 4. That's only when I define it. It's looking for an integer. These are integers. That's all it needs right there. So now I've created a second object, R2. It puts in the values of 3, 4. When I come to rectangle, it's going to go ahead and make that. This is 3, 4, and it's going to save 3 as the height and 4 as the length. So now let's go ahead and then calculate my area. So let's go area 2. I knew we did this for a reason here. R2 dot area. And then let's output that one as well. Once you have that, go ahead and run it. We should expect what? Yeah, 12. So 100 and then 12 right after it, because we're still running the other one. I'll run mine. Okay, any questions so far? So far we've written our own class. You're going to do this for your lab. You're going to write an algebra class. We've created constructors here. Now all these have been non-static. For your assignment, they're actually going to be all static, so you don't have to worry about creating any objects. Okay. What else can we do with a rectangle? Yeah, let's do perimeter. So public integer perm. I'm just call it perm. In my curly brackets, I'm going to go ahead and return. Let's make an equation here. So 2 times my height plus 2 times my length. And that should be my perimeter. Okay. Now, the other thing I want to do is I don't want to have to keep running these individually. So I'm going to create one last method down here and just call it a display. So I'm going to go public, so method to run both area and perimeter. And I'll go ahead and display that in my method. So public void display. I'm going to put in some words here. Okay, so I'm going to go system.out. Print line a rectangle with a I'm going to end it right here. I'm just thinking of wording here. I'm going to put length right here plus space x space plus height space plus dimensions, put a space. Okay, so what this is doing is I'm saying a rectangle with 10 by 10 dimensions. So we'll put out whatever is my object is holding. System dot out dot print line. The area is space plus area parentheses. I want to run the program. So I'm now calling a method in another method, which is completely okay. And then I'm going to do the same thing. Spell system correctly. Out print line. The perimeter is, and my quote, plus and perm. Parentheses, so it runs the method. I end that one there. Okay, now it's going to go ahead, and instead of me having to do that all inside my main method, I create one method that runs both of them and displays it at the same time. Last thing I want to do is I'm just actually going to put a system.out.println. Leave it blank, but that way it will separate it because I'm going to run both of these here. Okay, when you go back, you can go ahead and get rid of those area variables we made. And see if you can go ahead and run display on both objects. Okay, so I'm going to go back here. I don't need these because I'm now doing this on its own. I don't need this. And I don't need these system.out prints. So really all I need is to make the two objects. So I just got rid of everything else. And then I'm going to say run the display method. Okay. Now these are all non-static, which means I don't have to worry about in the class. I just need the object's name. So the first object is named R1 dot display. Parentheses end. Next one, R2 dot display. Okay, let's run that. I'll move mine over a little bit. Okay. A rectangle with 10 by 10 dimensions. The area is 100. The perimeter is 40. The rectangle with 4 by 3 dimensions. The area is 12. The perimeter is 14. Works just how we want. Now, hopefully you can start to see how a class, the more we have to do, it's just simplifying this for us. this is what I'm actually running, right? It's all from here. Having an own separate file for the class just simplifies it a ton. And the more we add, the more it's going to simplify it and the more fun things we can do as we get there. Okay. Last thing I need to show you is we're going to go ahead and look at the Java class here. I'm actually going to pull up and we're going to talk about the scanner class. So actually, I think this video is long enough.